Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Let's get it started in here. Okay. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. And obviously, we have our lovely potluck. Well, not potluck. What do you want to call it? Crock pot goodies. Lunch. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Lindy, if you guys have a moment, please wish her well. She just got her new class. So she's like on drugs. So she's coherent every now and then. We can talk to her, and then all of a sudden she's gone. So anyway, just FYI. Okay, so again, Y4C2Ts. Does anybody have any examples of a Y4C2T that you had this week? We'll take just a couple. Anybody? Somebody. Tina, did I see your hand go up? Oh. Okay. Somebody, anybody? Please, yes. Somebody. Okay, come on, guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so for our values,
yes.
God, family, business.
Yes.
Wait,
guys, listen.
The subject comes up for family reunion. We just came from there. I never have seen such a turnout of that whole set of values that ever. In all the years that we've been at Keller Williams, that probably was one of the most come together events I've ever seen that emulated exactly what that's all about.
100% agreed. It was amazing, right? So there's an inspirational morning that happens at family reunion that is literally just it's like you're walking away with tears, eyes well, all of those things, because there's just so many good things that are happening and there's so many amazing people in our company. So yes, thank you for sharing that. Sure. There was one over here. Yes, Corey.
Tori always has something to say. Come on, Tori.
What was the question?
What?
I just want you all to know that I love you. From my
that's what he's gonna say. He just came to say I love you. Right? Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for sharing. And then again, TCPA. And again, if you have questions about that, please let us know so we can help you with it. And then Susan, you are up. Okay, there you go.
We have a podium.
Yes, you do. It's for you, Susan.
Kind of low, but that's okay. Anybody seen a postcard lately? Anybody have a client that got a postcard offering them kind of a class settlement lawsuit? Yeah, settlement for a class action lawsuit. Yeah.
Facebook ad.
Maria got one. Facebook. Yeah. Do you want to tell your story?
Well, I haven't done anything with it yet, but I had a conversation with you about, the impact of if our client files a claim, and of course, they have to already put that money in there. So
exactly.
Why not?
Right. So these are in the mail. Just a little background in case you've been living in a cave. The Sitzer-Burnett trial was a class action lawsuit that was filed in Missouri federal court by a group of home sellers in the state against NAR and other defendants, including Anywhere, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Keller Williams, and Remax. The plaintiffs claimed that real estate commission rates are too high, buyers' representatives are paid too much, and the NAR's Code of Ethics and MLS handbook, along with the corporate defendants' practices, led to inflated commission rates. So, when you get this, these postcard has gone out because as of February 1st, 2024, Gary Keller settled the lawsuit to the tune of $70 million. This settlement takes us all off the hook. They can't do any copycat lawsuits for commissions or anybody affiliated with Keller Williams. We are kind of unique in Washington State because we had already decoupled the commissions. And of course, the changes in agency law as of January 1st mean that the sellers have the option to pay or not pay compensation. Everything is negotiable and everything is transparent up front. So if you do have a client that calls you and you run into them at the grocery store or something and say, hey, I got this postcard, should I try and get some money? Well, they do have to meet the criteria for eligibility, and that's on the back of the postcard. They have to have sold property within the relevant date range, which is October 31st, 2019 through February 1st, 2024. Have to have listed their property on the MLS and paid broker compensation as part of that transaction. So here are some thoughts on formulating your responses. You can clearly explain to consumers the choices they have when it comes to representation and be able to articulate your value and expertise. Remember that when a seller first signed that listing agreement with you, they needed your help. They needed your experience. They needed your expertise. They needed your ability to negotiate. They needed to get a certain price in a certain time frame. You met all those goals for them. You provided real value. Continue expressing to clients, friends, and family that compensation is negotiable and is set between brokers and their clients in mutual agreement. Continue using the signed listing and buyer agreements, which we have to help clients understand exactly what services and value you're providing, how much your services cost, and how you will be paid. And if clients ask questions specifically about the litigation, be transparent. Realtors will always be there to guide them through the complexities of buying and selling, to protect them, and to promote their best interests. Remember your agency duties. The primary ones are loyalty and confidentiality. And we do have a fiduciary duty to our clients by definition in agency law, and that means we put their interests above anyone else's, even our own. But it's really a really important thing to remember, this value framework that we provide. Make sure your clients know that if they choose to claim eligibility for remuneration through this settlement of the class action lawsuit, it's totally up to them. You can't tell them whether or not they should. And whatever decision they make, it's not going to affect you personally. It's not coming out of your pocket. It's not coming out of our firm's pocket. The settlement's been made. And due to the fact that agency law has changed, that really empowers the buyers and sellers, because after all, information is power, right? So they have choices and they have total disclosure on who's doing what, who's getting paid what, and who is paying them. So Washington, again, is unique in requiring this negotiation and entry into an agreement up front at the beginning of the provision of brokerage services. Remember, as soon as reasonably practical, but certainly before you write a contract. So this ensures that the clients can negotiate the compensation, the brokers will be paid, so that allegations like the ones that form the base of the lawsuit don't have any meaning in our state. So you're okay. And if you want more information, the Washington Realtor Association website has links both for you and for consumers. You can tell people to look there if they want more information. And also in the Realtor magazine, anybody read that? There was a real good summation in this month. It's called Breaking Down Suits or Burnett. And I made some copies here if anybody wants to take it. It's kind of a good summation of that lawsuit. Okay, any questions?
Like if our clients come to us and say, I got this postcard to be in a class action lawsuit, we can pretty comfortably say to them, I mean, it doesn't hurt them to sign up for it. It's not going to hurt me as their agent. Like, there's really no reason for them not to jump on board and maybe get or something, 3 years.
I would say it's totally your choice.
Right, it's totally your choice.
But it's not going to negatively impact me in any way. That settlement's already been made in the state of Missouri. And I mean, the lawsuit that was, conducted in that state. So that settlement's already been made. And, I can't tell you if you should or shouldn't, but totally up to you, but try.
You said it so eloquently, though, it should have been recorded.
Oh.
Because that is honestly, factually, the bullet points that someone should just represent with that whole issue.
Oh, right. Well, some of them I based my comments in part on this article. So grab that article. That'll help you. Mark.
I had somebody come up to me last week that I referred a broker to out in the north end of Arizona. Got one of those cards and says, "What should I do?" I said, "Well, if I recall, I don't know that you were even listed. You might want to call the agent that did the transaction for you and get clarity." So,
Well, again, the criteria for participating in a claim are on the flip side of that postcard with the dates and the listing it in the MLS and paying brokerage fees.
Okay. All right, so we're going to make you have a little chat again. So what made you smile today? So 3 people, anything. What made you smile today?
It was sunny for a couple minutes.
Okay, that was, and then that 4. Yes, Larissa.
My son's preschool teacher sent me a picture, and it's his drawing, and it says, "I'm lucky because my mommy snuggles me."
I love that. Love it, love it. Thanks, Larissa. Anyone else? Yeah, Jay.
We stopped by Tracy Lynn's open house this week, our first one.
Oh.
She spent probably
Good job, Tracy.
months preparing for it, I think. But so not kidding, she had this presentation board that took me back to 4-H. And it was just nicely done. And then she had her computer set up there, so you could like log right in. And there's a QR code with the front with a sign, and she had actually staged in the bedrooms and in the basement different things about her and more QR codes. It was awesome.
It's about her.
Well, it was just with market stuff. It was
Okay, got it.
just snacks and everything else.
Okay, good job,
Really
Tracy.
nicely done.
Everyone that was here to help me, that's Mrs. Green, Rachel, Jay. I ran into anyone that's available. It's been a lot of work in the 4th grade science project. I was on the board of that to make everything, and now I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay, good job, Tracy. Okay, so what, Debbie, are you here? Okay,
Yeah.
come on up. You're the next contestant.
Price is Right. I really don't have anything today. I just want to remind you of our class tonight. Tina and I worked very hard. We've changed our slide presentation. It's going to be really good. Always room for more people, customers or agents. And I did pray over the food before we plugged it all in this morning. So please, please make sure it's done. Right, Edgar? By 12:30. So ready for lunch.
That's it.
Okay.
All right, and then your workshop, you talked about that.
Yeah, I did tonight.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so we're going to have a couple of people that attended family reunion come up, and we're going to ask them some questions. So come on up. I'm going to put you guys right here. Larissa and Jackie. Yes.
Two of us.
And so Pam is going to ask some questions of the 2 of you.
Who else is at family reunion this year? Awesome. I bet you feel like me in that was one of the best family reunions we've been to. Well, I've been to 20. That was probably on ranking right up there with 1, 2, or 3. So
It was amazing.
It was
it was really great, and for so many reasons. And these guys are going to tell you about their experience. But how many times have you been to family reunion? Six. And how long have you been in real estate? 8 years. So 6 of your 8 years.
This is my first one, and I've been in real estate for 7 years.
Total opposites. What do you wish you would have known before you finally went to this one that you didn't know?
I did not know how much this was about, like getting to know other agents, both in our market center and other market centers, and just conversations. I feel like there was just as much of that as there was like panels and like the masterminds. So,
and were you purposeful about those connections, or did you just happen into them?
Both. Well, some I was purposeful with, some I just kind of waltzed into and then was really grateful for.
It was fun, right?
Yeah.
What do you want everybody else to know about family reunion, and why do you go, 6 of your 8 years?
Sure. A big part is that the networking of other agents. We've got the classes all day, and we've got a networking event every night. So we're part of the KW Rainbow Network, where we're networking with fellow agents in that community. There's military, you name it, there's a group for it. And that's how we build, we're part of BNI, which is Business Networking International. We do a breakfast with fellow agents across the US for that as well. So building those strong relationships across the nation and outside of that is a big value add that, again, when I first went, wasn't something I was expecting, and something that we are actually the most intentional about attending.
Okay. So what do you do with those connections once you make them a family? What do you do step by step?
Never talk to them again.
You guys know that that's true. Yes, it is.
I will say this is probably the best I've been afterwards, following up. So my schedule's pretty booked this next 2 to 3 weeks of Zoom calls and getting to know each other better. We were actually real intentional of not putting them in our database immediately because then they get lost. So we were really intentional about actually using a different app, so it was very separate and we could see and write notes, so they didn't get lost in our database, and then adding them afterwards. So that's what the steps are, just reaching back out. Great to meet you, would love to get to know you more, and learn about you and how you conduct your business. So lots of Zoom appointments.
Is that in your database? Is that in command?
Our database is in command, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's the value of doing that one thing right there?
Well, the goals are referral business, so an opportunity for our clients to have someone that we know and know how they conduct their business and treat their clients. So when they move out of the state, we've got someone to send them to, and then of course, turn the favor, building it back to us.
So have you been intentional on building your referral database in the past?
Yes and no.
Wait,
Intentional in the sense of it's something that's been a part of our business. We do not have a system around it. And that's what we're working on this year.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have a goal then of how many referrals, outbound or inbound, that you want to give and receive this year?
No, actually, I have a goal around that.
Okay. Question.
Yes, sir.
How many last year did you receive any referrals from outside agents?
I think we received 3.
Okay. And how much is this commission worth?
$12,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's $36,000 you made off referrals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we're good.
So his point is
I hate to make this real obvious, but it seems to me that paid for itself. That
Sure did, yeah.
There was somebody on the plane.
Mr. Obvious, thank you.
I was going to say that.
There's somebody on the plane that was wearing KW swag, so I said hi, right? They're right behind me, and they said 86% of their business in the prior year came from family reunion alone. Wow. 86%. Crazy.
No.
Yeah, how nice would it be to not go to like a Facebook page and say, who do you know in Atlanta?
Right.
And you have 1,000 people tagged, and you're like, who do you know in Atlanta? Like I don't know where to start, right? That is what this is all about.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, then, from the standpoint, now that we have some numbers in front of us, how long does it take you to give a referral?
Minutes. I mean, because I already have the relationship, right? So I don't have to find numerous people and screen them and make sure they're going to take good care of my client. I've already done that legwork. So I don't know why I keep saying Atlanta. But if they're moving to Atlanta, I know somebody there. This is who you should use. They're going to take great care of you.
Right. But the point in this is, you guys all, if you haven't done the dollar per hour exercise, like what is your dollar per hour? What do you earn on average dollar per hour? You know?
No, she said something that kind of hit me a little bit that I wanted to actually like explain more. And this goes back to the phone.
Oh, that statistically more people are leaving this town area going to Texas and Florida and Arizona. And I have my SRES and we seniors are taking on effort and going to these more affordable. And so, you know, tapping into those individuals who are in those other stages really is very, very profitable. Yeah.
So very, very profitable. I think this is probably an overlooked database for you guys on so many levels. That if you just really understood the impact it can have on your dollar per hour. As a matter of fact, would you guys like us to run through that dollar per hour exercise with you in the next meeting or so? Yes. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll be right back now. Okay, good. But super proud of you. You actually have a goal around it, something you're going to do this year. Dee Scott from the Kent office actually had a goal of 200 connections. So she brought 200 letters to people wrapped in a little candy thing. And her job while she was there was to give and receive. Give and receive 200 contacts is what she was looking for. So I don't know if she made that goal, but we'll all Facebook and we'll find out. I'll just put it right out there so we'll see if she made the goal.
I'm wondering if we could add to that conversation. So like we talked a lot about meeting other agents and cultivating this referral network. But I would love to hear other people's ideas on how do I educate my sphere that I can help them with a referral. Because I've got literally thousands of people around the country, and whenever I talk to them about real estate, they're like, oh, I'm in Montana, and I'm like, I can still help you, but I'd love a better system to be able to educate my sphere that I can with a referral.
Right, so we'll add that to that. That's great. That's great. Anybody else in that same boat? How do you educate other people to know that you can help them out of state or around the world for that matter?
I stopped segregating my doing DT too, which is inconsistent. But when I do, I stop excluding the out-of-state people since I've lived in 8 states and start telling them, hey, there's 3 ways in which we may mutually be able to help people. And I tell them about the recruiting aspect first, because I ask them if they know anybody who wants to get in real estate. I tell them about the referral piece and ask, you know, if they're interested in moving. I know where they live typically, so inside of command, I do like the fact that you can send in market information on where they are anywhere in the country. And then the last piece, of course, is, you know, are you planning to transact any business? And if I don't talk to the people a lot, I use the Ford model just to catch up.
What's the Ford model? Does everybody know the Ford model?
Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Right. It's old and dirt, but it works all the time. It still works, right? It's a relationship.
And one more piece, if you started to send out a regular newsletter or maybe even the magazines like that the different companies make, which have a lot longer shelf life, don't exclude your referral partners on your mailing list, because at the end of the day, it comes down to top of mind, are you capable, and what's easiest for them too. So if they just know, oh, I sent Howard referral the last 2 times, you want to be the one to say, well, you don't have to think about it, sending it to me, you know, it'll get taken care of, and just sending them the emails. I don't send the emails, full disclosure, but I receive them from several referral partners, and I'm like, yes, I have an idea. So that's my
We can work on this. A little bit. You know, real estate is a contact sport. Yeah. That's what it is. You make contact with people, people make contact with us.
What if every time you got a listing or sold something, you sent something out to those referral partners across the country? We just did it again. Here's a new listing that we just got. You know that wants to move to this area. Or here's a sale that we just made in this area. What they want to see is they've got a productive agent on the other end. That's all they care about. Someone that is in business, doing a lot of business, that's what they want.
Remember when Tony DeSello did that goal? Yep. He talked about it years ago, and it was a stack of 1,000. His goal was to send out 1,000 of those each time he did what Dennis just said.
Now, if you did that, and people thought of real estate, would they think of you?
Yep.
Yeah. That is the goal. That is the game we're playing. When people think of real estate, do they think of you?
Because they forget you every 17 days.
Every 17 days, you're out of their mind. And somebody else just entered. What are you laughing about? Randy. What? I'm distracting. So perfect. No. Okay, so we started the event at the CEO Summit, and Dennis and I were there. Rosie was there. Michelle was there. Was that amazing or what?
Yeah, it was totally worth the extra $300.
It was an additional $300 to spend the day with top-notch speakers, and to me, it was a very holistic type of day where, you know, we talked about branding, we talked about building muscle mass, like eating protein. We talked about, it was very full. These people are at the top of the game. We talked about finding businesses, investing, and doing different things. For me, if I had only went to that thing, it would have been worth the whole expense. So somebody said to me, I'm not a CEO, so I couldn't go. I'm going to say no, everybody can go. Everybody can go to that. So next year.
But it is limited, so you got to buy
It is
tickets.
limited. It's 2,000 people that are able to buy a ticket for that. So it's a smaller group, but it was very, very powerful. So what was the takeaway you got out of Tony Robbins?
And he was in a lot of pain. I actually have never seen him speak, or this hasn't been someone that I followed. There was a lot of energy up and down. Yeah, and it makes 100% sense, right? In the sense of how you show up is what you're putting out as well. In the sense, like, if you come to work or come to the office and you're trying to do your lead gen, and you're like, man, that was a tough morning with my kids. This one was doing that. Like, your energy is low, and that will come through on your phone calls if you decide to make them at that point. So energy is such a big part of success.
Right. And what did he tell us that we needed to do in order to shift our energy? What was his main thing?
Physically move.
Physically move.
Yeah. That was like my biggest takeaway from, he had us go through a bunch of exercises where we were exercising actually. Yeah. You're standing and jumping and doing all this craziness. And if you did it and you weren't embarrassed to do it and you like stood up, you'd notice that even when you sat back down in your chair, you sat differently. Mm-hmm. And just a really, really simple, small, like get up, physically move and sit back down was wild. Mm-hmm. And not just like, I'm going to go take a leisurely stroll and get my energy up. No, jump up and down 4 times, sit back down and do your calls. And that was like wild.
Okay, so should we stand up?
Yes. Stand and jump.
Oh, no. We're just going to stand here and jump like 10 times. 10 times. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, do you feel the difference in the energy before and after? It's stupid, but it works. It does work. So we did 4 hours of that. So we're not getting that. There was a lot of it. And a lot of just making the point. And the other thing I got out of Tony Robbins was asking great questions is paramount, that you learn how to ask great questions as well. And great questions lead to great relationships, which can end a Cold War. And he talked about his conversation we had with Reagan and Gorbachev. And how did they end the Cold War? They didn't end it through weapons, they ended it through relationship. Let that sink in for a second. That is so powerful. All right, Mel Robbins.
Take it away. Oh, okay. Okay, so Mel Robbins talked, of course, about her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule, and my biggest actually takeaway with her was using it on my son. So my son's a bit, well, he has ADHD. Like, we know he's not diagnosed, but we know, right? And so it's challenging to get his brain engaged, and sometimes he'll like just kind of want to do these things. And so I started counting down with him. This kid kicks it in gear. It is wild. And so just this idea of getting your logic brain back engaged when you're emotionally saying, oh, I don't want to do these things, or there's reasons why I can't do it. Just get your logic brain back online. And she showed us this way of doing it with the counting down, which is really simple. And self-admittedly, she said stupid, and it works.
Same. But also, just like Tony Robbins, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 move.
Yes.
Like, it's so, like, we lose sight so much of like how our bodies work. And I think that's what's just like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 started just for her. It wasn't this thing, it wasn't this like book she read. She did it herself and then researched and realized what she did actually made a difference. There's things that happen in our brain when you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You don't even know that's happening. And so I think we often forget that sitting in one spot for a long time does this to our body, or thinking that one thought this long does this to our body. Like, so much of this is energy and just moving and having the blood flow that you can make some huge changes by simply counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and walking. It's so little that it can make such a big difference.
So can I add on that last week, I know Lindy talked about the reason why she did it right was to get out of bed, but it's really more than that. It was a simple fact that she was depressed, right? They had, what, $800,000 in debt, and they were talking about getting a divorce from her husband, all this other stuff, right, that happens to, it's obviously life, right? But that's how she developed that, was to be able to get her mind working in a different direction and getting going. Yeah.
And I think the cool thing too is she already made the decision to do it. Right? She made the decision to make the change. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 was just the action she needed to do it. Yes. It didn't make the change for her. It didn't create the idea like, I'm gonna get out of bed. Like, she made the decision at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna get up. And so it gives you that little piece of action to make the change or do something different, or make that one extra call that you didn't, whatever it is. I'm gonna eat healthier today. I'm not gonna, make the stop for fast food on the, way home from showing. Like, whatever that is, right? It's just a quick reaction.
Yep. Before your brain talks yourself out of it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
What I liked is we watched afterwards and I shared it with our team, the neuroscience behind it, because I don't have children, but I always observe people who have children. And the thing I've noticed, and what Mel had said, because it's such a brain hack, is that how many times, and I've seen this, okay, I'm gonna count to 3. Okay, I'm gonna count to 3 again. And it's like, you're just setting them up the wrong direction. So like how she described it was, there is nowhere else to go once you get to 1. You're done. So you have to do something. That reaction has to take place. And so I just thought that was, it's so simple, but it was so interesting the way that she described that.
Yeah. A super powerful hack, like I said, for us to implement easily. And the thing is, she made the decision ahead of time, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm doing something, anything, something, just do it, right?
And she also said in her video, she started with move. Go kind of came second. And then she explained why she had done that and changed the word.
How many of you, either one of you see Phil Jones? What not to say, or what to say?
I missed it. I wanted to go so bad. I love it.
It's great. We'll bring some more of that back here the next couple of, because he wrote a book on what to say for realtors. And again, backing into the idea of asking great and powerful questions. Like, if you had to grade yourself on questions, how would you grade yourself, guys? Are you really, really good? Like, would you give yourself a 10 out of 10? Yeah. Would you give yourself a 5 out of 10? Like, you're mediocre. Yeah. Half of what I say in the world is question, and half is statement.
Yeah.
I think it depends on who I'm talking to.
Okay.
True that.
Yeah, we already know that if you were asking more and better and more powerful questions, we would all change the trajectory of your own lives, other people's lives. You could make a huge impact. So you did write a book on what to say for real estate agents. We'll bring some of that back with us. Right, Billy?
I am working on that.
Phil Jones, great author, simple read. Okay, so breakout sessions. What breakout sessions were most impactful for you?
Well, this is the first year that I went to any sessions that had to do with growing the team. So I went to build a business that talent never leaves.
Was that great? Say yes.
No, it wasn't.
No,
but
it wasn't.
no,
I yeah. And I think what was my biggest takeaway from it was we put so much emphasis on our clients and taking care of them and knowing how to, what their goals are and how to reach them and how we're going to help them do that. And I think it gets lost internally as far as our people. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is if we know what makes them tick, what their goals are, and we can help them reach those on a really big level, why would they go anywhere? And I think it was like, there was so much more, but that's the way I would just simplify it.
Awesome. So you're going to take away something of that and implement this year?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So
Well, we made our first agent hire, Ashley.
well, I was in it with Jackie. I was in that class.
Yes.
And so one of the things that she said was that we have to remember, right, that not everybody's the same. We're all different. And so one of the things that was a big aha for her is that she had always been so frustrated with her mom growing up because her mom didn't react as quickly as she wanted her to. And so she thought she was doing it on purpose. So that's just her mom frustrating her. She just couldn't figure it out. But when she realized that people are different, right? We all have a bit, like when we all take the KPA, right? Our responsiveness is anywhere from a 1 to a 10. That not everybody has to be like you, and it's not a choice. It's just innately in that human. And then once you realize that, then your expectation of that human changes. So anyway, I thought that was really eye-opening. Yeah.
So if I could add, the other big takeaway from that was everyone's goals are different. It might be my goal to, do more every year, but the people on my team might have a great life doing the same thing every year. And so understanding if you push them farther than really where they want to be, you almost do push them out. And having a balance of people that just, never want to sleep and want to work forever versus the people like, you know what, 24 transactions this year, hits my goals, I'm able to do the things I want to do, and I love it. And having a good balance of those people and understanding who those people are makes a world of difference.
What tools will you use to get all of that out?
We do career visioning, so KPA is a big part of that, and asking questions, motivational interview through there. The career visioning gives you all the answers that you need, right? And then continuing to follow up. And so depending on who the people are, maybe that's every month, maybe it's every 6 months. Our lives change. My life is different than it was when I first did my KPA verification 8 years ago. My goals are different. So making sure to also say, okay, this is what you said 6 months ago. Does that still feel the same? Are those goals still the same? And if not, then how do we pivot and help reach those? Okay, I have two that I really want to share.
Share.
Okay, so the breakout, like the first actual breakout that I found was revolutionary, was the AI one, and I almost didn't go to it, and I'm really excited that I did, because the big takeaway from that was not necessarily how to use ChatGPT or these other AIs, but the fact that real estate is changing in a direction that if you're not using it, similar to if you're still stuck on like billboards, right? Real estate is changing in a way to use those as tools to do our business better, faster, more like advanced than the other realtors who are choosing to not use it. And so really starting to use that as a tool and learn it, just like you're starting to use social as a tool and learn it because that's where people are, is really important. So if you're not on that kind of trajectory, definitely start diving into the world of AI, even to the point where you can ask it to write out ideas for you and then write the blog from the ideas and then critique itself and then rewrite it as if you were an 80-year-old woman who wants to move to Scottsdale, Arizona. and dial it in so much. So anyway, that was a huge takeaway. The AI one was groundbreaking. My other one was not what I was expecting at all. It was the ADHD breakout one, and it was doing real estate with ADHD. This one had a line, guys. I mean, there were probably 100 people that didn't get in. It was crazy.
I was one of them.
Yeah, there's quite a few in this room that did not. Yeah. That one was amazing. And the biggest takeaway I had from that panel was all of these people on the panel are GCI millionaires. They all were the most chaotic people I've experienced in the most beautiful way. And it was so authentic. It was wild. Like, they have it recorded. Yes. So I can share that out because I have it. But doing real estate in the way that works for your brain. Right? Doing it with no shame around it, no trying to change who you are, just doing your business in a way that fuels you, whether you have ADHD or anything, or you're completely normal. Just do it in a way that feels the best and not feeling like you have to fit into a mold or like having to cold call or do stuff like that.
There is no such thing as normal, by the way.
Typical. Yeah.
It was industry definitely attracts lots of different people with, I don't like putting anybody in a box of ADHD or whatever. I mean, I'm one of the originals, to say that. However, you do have to figure out how you're going to work. Like, work within your brain, work within your behavior, and be you, because that's the authentic thing people really want, right?
Can I add the one thing that you just said? Yes. So original, by the way, we learned at one of our breakouts that that is not a term, or that is the term we have to use now, because you're not supposed to say outdated.
No.
So original. Literally, you're not supposed to ever tell a client that their home is outdated. It's original. Sorry, it just triggered it.
Sorry.
My ADHD.
That's right. So the other thing that we get to listen to is Gary's vision speaks state of the company. So there's a lot of data that's very data driven. For those of you in the room that are data driven, if you haven't had a chance to actually, if you weren't there, go back and review it. I think the slides are online. Everything, it's uploaded to Facebook. You can also watch on YouTube or on the Connect channel, the whole thing, and take notes from. So anything you guys got out of that you remember?
Share on that one. Yeah. The biggest thing is some of the graphs that they had about affordability, inflation, and interest rates. Don't keep that private. Share that to your people. I know you all send emails to your people. Share it out, call them, have conversations about it, because some of that data was way more comforting than I thought it was going to be, right? So I think that's really important that that actually gets out to your people. Cool.
I think we're going to be going over some of those next week. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question for Larissa. Since you've been in business 7 years, this was your first family reunion. What made you decide to go? Number two, would you go back?
One, what made me decide to go is it finally just fit into my life circumstances. So I have a 4.5-year-old and a 10-month-old, and I've basically had humans that I'm either, starting my business and couldn't go, or had babies that couldn't go or chose not to go for those reasons. You
just want a break.
And I wanted to party by myself. Yeah, I wanted a room by myself. And I absolutely would go back. Family reunion for me did not become about as much networking to build a referral network as I thought it was going to be. I really had this idea that it was going to be, trying to create connections across the country and also trying to get as much from the masterminds. And I think those are the two least takeaways that I had. And it was conversations that became very random. I mean, we were at Northwest Glow Fest. I had an incredible conversation with Tori that I'm so grateful for. Didn't have any plans to go afterwards. Went afterwards, and Hannah convinced me to talk to Jeff Glover, who is the person who trained my coach. Like, what is going on, right? So it was just one of those things that every single day turned into something and built connections with people that I just wasn't expecting. It's great. Yeah.
Yes.
So the next time you go, I would challenge you to find different groups. So networking is one of the bigger things that we Jackie do.
Yeah.
And the main way to do that is we used to be part of MARN, which is Military Alliance Resource Network. So if you're working with a lot of veterans, the become part of that group, and then you go to their networking events. And that's where you get your national, your one-on-ones, and you can really connect with people. So you have, I have a person that's, so that was much fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, what's nice about the groups is you get to focus on the networking for a specific amount of time. And it doesn't feel like you're trying to network the entire week. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, you will walk through to the general session, right? And then people just standing at the entrance, handing their phone. That's not that. No. I'm never going to call that person, right? Like, that is not the way to do it, in my opinion. Maybe it works for some people. But that's what we like about these affinity groups, that you have a very, like, we were meeting for 2 hours. Talk to people. Great, bye. Right? And then you have an opportunity to follow up after to build those relationships.
Well, with that, the commonality is already established, right? So you can just pick up and go from there. You don't have to establish commonality through board or whatever. You just, it's already there because you're already part of that community.
Yeah. Well, like Larissa said, it's a great opportunity to get to know our peers as well. There's a lot of masterminding we do within the people that attend in our office that you just don't have necessarily the opportunity to do when you're, you know, trying to go to a showing or an appointment, right? We're all stuck there together. So we can have a lot of great conversations.
Well, it's really a horrible place to be stuck too.
Yeah.
Stuck. Are you ready?
Yes.
I shared, since I've been to family reunion many times, I shared with somebody, it might have been you. I can't remember who I shared it with, but about the networking. I made a point to say, you will find people that are just what you said, standing there just handing out cards. That's not it. And if you want to get to know somebody, whether it's in a group, make a point of 5 to 10 minutes or whatever time you have to get to know them. Instead of knowing 100 people, you'll know 15 really well that you can have.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go back to the idea of your ADHD and do business the way your brain thinks. So, you know, I'm maybe going to do things just a little bit different than you, or you, but you've got to figure out what is your way of causing these relationships to happen, right? And by the way, that word cause, I don't know what people have to say about the word cause, but it implies that you did something to make something happen, right? I don't know the definition. You're causing something every single day. Whether it's the result you want is completely, you know, the question. Is what I'm doing causing the result that I want to have today? Is what I'm doing leading me further down the hole? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, right? Do something else and cause something to happen. Yeah. Okay, fun. Anything else you want to share, like burning to share before we move on?
You should go next year.
It's in Vegas again.
It's in Vegas again. So it's the closest one you'll go to. Everyone else is going to be farther. Well, I guess similar, but you can't get there pretty much any cheaper. Same time zone. Same time zone.
That's helpful.
Yes. Because when you get to the East Coast and have to wake up early, it's
especially
Nobody sorry. No one does that.
Yeah.
No, but I would say go. If you're an app client, you get to go for free, so you definitely can go. Meaning your ticket's paid for. So that should be just a no-brainer in my opinion. And if you're not an app, it still should be a no-brainer. Just budget now. You've got 11 months to do that, right?
So between the hotel, the flight, and the tickets, what do you think you spent? I'm looking at you, Larissa, because I know you know.
I don't know.
She's thinking about Anna has something to say.
Yes, it should be free by the end of it because you should be walking away with at least one referral if you're doing it correctly. Every single time I've gone to family reunion now, I do get a referral being there. It's not very hard, but you do have to make those genuine connections because there are certain people that are literally waiting for somebody to sit down and just actually talk to them before they go, actually, you know what? My brother is going to be selling his house in 2 weeks in Iguala, and they're looking for a great agent.
Yeah, and by the way, don't forget there's another side to this. So I was in line opening my purse because the bells and whistles went off when I went through the thing. Opening my purse, and I said hello to the guy looking in my purse, and he says, "Is this a real estate conference?" I said, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "Wow, that's really cool. You know, here you're doing this." And I said, "Well, do you have an interest?" What am I going to say? Right. Do you have an interest in real estate? Of course he does. That's why he asked me, right? As a matter of fact, I do. So I took his name. His name's Kyle Miller in Vegas. And Tyrone is going to be scholarshiped into getting his real estate license. It's going to change his life. Different ways you can look at this, right? So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Does everybody know what that means?
Yes.
I know. Take saying original. You may or may not know.
She didn't answer the question.
Okay.
Roughly, how much did you spend to do this?
So roughly about $2,500.
Okay.
But can I add? Okay, and
okay,
a little bit and my hotel was almost free because of a family member, and I brought all of my food except for dinners. Highly recommend you bring your food because those lines look crazy, and I was eating my food. I was enjoying myself.
They were crazy.
I
You're
spent more
part
than
of
that,
that,
but coaching, you get family reunion and mega camp for free. So that's paid for it.
Very cool. And Denise Christopherson, what do you have to say about family?
What do you want me to say?
I just see you over there. No, you're pretty great.
So I chose a couple of focuses this year for family reunions. So one was we joined KWRBN in the last couple months, so that was one of the areas of focus to go to those classes. The other one was luxury. I've had more clients over $1 million in the last year, so I wanted to focus on those areas. So instead of trying to do a bunch of different things, I tried to just pick and choose certain types of accounts.
That it? Yeah. Say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are almost finished, and then we can go eat. I think you guys all know, right? We have this class that's coming up, and you can get CE for it.
Before you go too much further.
Yes.
The sponsor of this.
I've been to this twice. So I helped bring this to the market center here. How many people have registered for this class? Oh, okay. You guys, there needs to be a lot more of us. This is super important. It could, wow, you guys are really pushing me up. Okay. I do this actually for some other things, just not here lately until now. So anyway, so all of you guys need to register, as many of you as possible. I've been to this class twice. The zoning laws are changing as of the first of the year. It could affect lending, it could affect appraisals are another big one. So it'll kind of blow your mind what you learn in this class. It's an all-day class, 2 parts that are clock houred. If you can only come to one portion of it, just do the morning portion and you'll get a good feel for things. And you'll get all the documents and stuff that he'll provide where you can go to look for the information on how it's going to impact things. So get involved. I've been reaching out to different cities and planning departments to hear how they're going to adapt under these zoning laws. But if they don't make revisions that fit within what the state is requiring, then the Department of Commerce is going to take over, and that will be how it's going to be for each city. So make sure you guys learn about this, and so you can educate your clients. So I think it could also impact how I'm now telling my buyers. I'm also making sure my sellers are aware. It could make a difference where people buy.
Thank you. Can you give an example of how this could change somebody? You're a seller in Seattle or somewhere, anyway. How is this, you knowing that, and you're my agent, say, or you say I'm the seller, I'm the agent, why does this matter to me?
It matters because it could change the value of your property depending on where you're located.
Up or down?
It could be either way. It could be either way depending on how close you are to like a transit stop. If you're within a quarter mile of a transit, and depending on your area, it could greatly increase the density that is allowed. So it could be 8+ units, like on a 6,000 square foot lot. There's no public notice that's going to be required. So you could buy somewhere thinking that you're in this neighborhood of all these old charming homes, and then one day your neighbor's house gets knocked down and they put up a 6-story multifamily. So really important stuff.
So if you have a customer who kind of has heard about this and is pushing for that, wanting $1 million for their property, do you think, I mean, if they have enough room to have it already. So, I mean, since this isn't even out there yet, do you list it for $1 million and put this information out there that you can put up to 8 units or more?
Yes, so the suggestion, and this guy will talk about it, is, you know, really making sure you know where your zones are. It may benefit you to wait to list some properties as we get closer to when the zoning changes happen. Some builders are already gearing up for this and buying up properties. So if you follow the Washington State Investor Facebook group or whatnot, a lot of them are looking for things. So it is changing my conversation with some sellers where I know things like this are happening in the neighborhood. I'm suggesting they don't do as much to fix up their property.
Do you know if this class is required for appraisers to learn about these zoning changes to understand how to?
I actually heard about it from an appraiser friend of mine. Yeah.
If you click on the QR code, you go to the bottom, it says something about specific for appraisers.
Yeah, so if you guys know city planners, know appraisers, builders, this would be a good class to get them to.
Investors.
Investors, yeah. So it could be really great. It could also impact us the other way. And he mentioned that there's already a couple of lawsuits that have happened. This isn't something that HOAs can go back and add to their HOA rules and regulations. If they didn't do it by July of last year, it's too late. But there are some lawsuits already happening because the purchaser of the property thought he should have been informed that he could or couldn't do certain things, and they're going after the appraiser and the agent. So.
Okay, now let's show of hands. Who hasn't signed up? Who's going to sign up for this class?
And try to do it right away because we are expecting non-KDEP agents to be there as well.
Yeah, we are promoting this too outside.
It's here, right?
It's here, yeah.
Thank you, Denise. And just real quick, so if you haven't done this, grow your profit share, try to get signed up for that just to get an understanding of how you can impact your passive income. There is one happening next Wednesday on the 20th. Does anybody have any thoughts? I thought maybe you're going to say something.
Of course I have thoughts.
I know.
Right.
I'm just looking at you like I know you're going to say something.
Okay, raise your hand if you have enough passive income to retire on. Okay, great.
It's never enough.
Well, I mean, everybody has an enough number, right? Raise your hand if you're on the path and you have some passive income working for you in your life.
You'll never get rid of it.
Okay. Raise your hand if you need more passive income in your life in order to make your retirement years work at a level you want. All right. This is why you want to be in here, right here. This is so easy. It's as easy as a guy opens my bag and he says, "Is this a bunch of real estate agents?" I'm like, "Yes." Do you have a interest in real estate? Yes. Let me help you. Let me help you with that. This is all about helping other people. Who is it that said if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want?
Yes.
He's an original.
Yeah.
He is. For sure.
He's amazing.
But listen, you guys, I don't have time to think on this too long. You know how I know that? We started 20 years ago. Do I have the passive income that I want right now to retire on? Yes or no?
Yes.
No, I don't. I said everybody's goal is different. But listen, I ask you guys. Listen, Linda. I knew. Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. So you guys play with me on this. Okay. Where does your current active income come from?
Your job.
Well, tell me what it is.
Real estate sales.
Real estate sales. What else? Where else are you actively earning income? Actively rental income?
Is that active or passive?
Is it active or passive?
Oh,
Sorry. Rental's up here.
Semi-passive. Yeah.
Isn't passive or profit share.
Yeah.
That's active income, that's not passive.
She did.
Yeah, you're good.
That's very active. What else?
Property management company.
401k? What else? Active income, where else is your active income coming from? Time for money. Anybody got a side hustle? Consulting?
Coaching?
Yes. I'm preparing you to play a game. Do you guys know that? I'm preparing you to play a game. You ready?
I guess so.
Love games?
We heard an old word over here.
Okay. So I don't know how much of this you're going to be doing when you retire. This active income thing. Because as soon as you stop doing it, what happens to the income? It goes away. It's whatever you're earning here, gone. Now, if you haven't built this piece of it out, this is where the game comes in. What will happen?
Social Security.
Social Security.
Or you keep working.
Maybe I should put a heart around that. Are you going to keep working? Because we can in this industry, honestly. We can keep working until whatever, right? But at some point, don't you want to decide, right? So if you had a goal of, let's say, $10,000 a month in passive income, would that be a good goal? Yeah. Say yes.
Yes.
Passive income. It shows up when you're not working. How, this is the game. The game is, how am I going to earn that? What do I have already? Let's say we have 2 rentals. They both cash flow $500 a month. So how much passive income am I making from that rental if I'm not renting it? 1,000. And there's more to the game. But in your profit share.
Easy math, 1,000. Too easy math.
Okay, that's a really low number, but I'll go there. It's been a lot. Thank you very much.
I'm asking a question.
401.
The one thing though we're not keep remembering is we have to keep pace with inflation as well.
Okay, well maybe you're 20,000. We're just going to start here, but these are real conversations you need to be having with your significant other, with yourself, with your peer group, whatever, because that 20 years that just went by in a flash for us is happening to you right now, and you don't realize it. It's happening to you right now. So, what is it? If I need 10,000, let's say I got, I don't know, just give me a number.
$1 million in your 401k.
Yeah.
4% a year.
1 million.
So let's say 4,000.
Well, how much is that? Is that going to give me passive income?
40,000.
That's
There's a
40,000.
4% rule, 40,000 a year.
Divided by 12.
Equals
37.5.
37.5. Let's just say.
Close enough.
Okay, close enough. Okay, now, just with those 3 things, I have
5,700.
57.50. Here's the game. The game is, where do I get the rest?
What'd your social give you?
No, I'm not going to count that.
Well,
That's
we're
extra.
not gonna get it.
Why not?
That's extra.
No, it's extra. She
Because I
we had
want
to
you to play
clarify.
this
Because
game.
it's a game, Jan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's the
See, I
Joker.
didn't get it. My rules. Okay. Forget John. Sorry.
Okay.
But listen like that. Listen. This is a game. Where are you coming up with the rest of it?
That's what we have.
We're talking, it's not even half, right? Of what you're going to need to retire on. Where's the other part coming from? This is where you get to
Well,
dream
you
a
can
little.
you can increase the profit share.
Yes. I can increase that with no money, really no time. I can do that, but I gotta have what, Dennis?
Cash.
I gotta have cash to make that work. But I could, let's just say I added two more rentals, add another $500 a month cash flow. That's another $1,000. Where else can I do this? Where can I add to this that isn't already there to make up the difference?
Selling your real estate business.
Possibly, if you actually grow it, if you actually have an asset when you're done with this career.
Trade
options.
options.
That's possibly. What's that?
Trade options.
Trade options.
Other investments.
Other investments. Okay, so.
But you don't just drop $100 million.
But you don't just drop another $1 million into your 401k. That's so true, right? So really, this is like a really cool exercise. Dennis and I did it probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago now, sitting at a pool, and said, "Wow, we really need to wrap our minds around this. We need to understand that when we get ready to not want to work anymore, what does our income need to be so that we can do some traveling? I can take my grandkids on a vacation." Skipping a generation, did you see that? Right? But anyway, do you see what I'm saying? Like, where are your gaps right now, and how quickly can you close them? And with what vehicle can you do that? Wealth building conversations that Dennis has and Denise has and what they're privy to are amazing conversations. To be in the room with people that think at that level is outstanding. So just to be in this room today and have this conversation that no one else is having with you is outstanding, you guys. It's a game we get to play. It's called life. It's the game of life right here. But you're creating it every single day. If you don't like where you're at, there's things you can do about it because you have time on your side. Some of you do have time on your side. Some of us have to work faster, harder, with more intention because we don't have time on our side. We waited too long. It's true.
The other thing to look at too, 401k, the Roth, and rentals, all of that requires a lot of capital.
Yes.
Profit share.
You understand profit share at its very core. It's about bringing value to people and helping them get what they want. That's what that is. It's not about you recruiting someone at all. So let me ask you a question, and we probably have a couple more things that we have to go through.
Just a couple, but they're quick things that people already know.
Okay, so does this conversation bring you value?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anyone in your world that also needs to hear this conversation besides you? Yes, ma'am. Can you think of them right now? Can you call them today and say, "Hey, I was thinking about you in a class that we just took, and I'd like to buy you coffee." Can you do that? Oh my gosh, you guys, I got like mediocre response.
But you know how fun that would be in the essence of like people start feeding into your, like you didn't even think of it because maybe you're not in that world and you're like, oh, well that would work for me too.
You know, the stock market made 18% in the last 12 months. It's hard to beat that. It doesn't always do that.
Right.
But it's not like you have to put $1 million in. You just put a little bit every year. And if you have children, when they get old enough, you all have businesses. They can work for you. You can fund their Roth IRA. That's right. And get them started when they're 10. That's right.
And right now, and profit share is willable. That's where you're going with.
There's money out there too that people aren't talking about.
But all of those kinds of things require money. This profit share just requires you to go out and help someone with what they're trying to build in their life. That's what profit share is. And then as a thank you, we share profits with you. But don't be so selfish and not have these conversations. Because somebody needs to hear it. There's this thing out there called the law of reciprocity. Does anybody know what that is?
It's big word.
The song. Law of reciprocity.
Give it out and get it back.
Somebody tell me what it is.
What you give out, you give back.
Yeah, yes. If I give you something, Susan, and I'm gonna give it to her with no strings attached, by the way. I'm gonna give you something that you're gonna love, right? So in the future, how likely is it for Susan to give me something back?
Very. I scratch
It's
your back,
human
you scratch
nature.
mine.
It's human nature. That's a law of reciprocity. So we have to be better givers. So just go out and just give information, share your knowledge. You guys have more knowledge in this room than most real estate agents, most companies have. Just being in this room today. Share your knowledge. You know more than most people out there. You already know more. So you're ready, you're fully equipped to go out and do this. And so if you want to learn more about profit share, please come and talk to me after, because it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Dennis and I have we've received, created over $1 million in passive income by doing that one thing, by just finding people to help and bring value to. No strings attached. Thank you.
And Chris isn't in here right now, John, but you know, he's not even, how long has Chris been with us?
A year.
Yeah, and I think he earns like, I don't know, 2,000 a month. So
But we
you
can
know
go
that it's
into in depth
possible.
on some of these formulas and what to look for if you want to really construct something. But these are great, you guys. Linda McKissick, $1.6 million a year in profit sharing. A year, not lifetime, but a year.
Yes, thank you, Pam.
Soapbox, sorry.
Okay, so just so you guys have on the calendar, remember the shred event is on the 23rd. You guys all know about it. I'm going to save you some time because it's almost lunch. And then the diaper drive. And then what we are here for now. So lunch, everyone. Enjoy. Thank you for coming. And then don't forget to grab one of these that Susan had mentioned if you guys want one.